Now, welcome to another news from Naboo, where we have a lot to talk about today. So let us get right to it.
Wow. Okay.
Everybody knows.
I know. Everybody knows. All right. So we're going to start out with the big story today. Entertainment Weekly's last printed issue is our first look at Kenobi.
Coincidence? Probably.
So we are starting to get some official marketing for Kenobi, and it gets me more excited for the show, honestly. We see Owen Lars will be making an appearance, once again played by Joel Edgerton. We are going to be getting a look at Inquisitor Reva. Every image they had of her was without a helmet on, but I really hope that she does wear one at one point, because she's an Inquisitor, and they wear helmets, and it's cool. So okay. We also know from the images that Reva is on Tatooine. She's going to meet with Uncle Owen, who is most likely hunting Jedi, Kenobi possibly threatening to discover Luke. Ewan McGregor also has said, Obi-Wan is not in a good state. He feels rather broken and faithless and beaten, somewhat given up. We also know he'll be leaving Tatooine, and one place he's going to be traveling is Daiyu, a new planet with a neon-lit neo-noir feel to it. We also have confirmation that Beru Lars will be once again played by Bonnie Piesse, though no word on who will be playing Grand Inquisitor.
All right, a lot to unpack there. So the irony that this, I'm all for broken, dejected kind of Obi-Wan, kind of lost his faith and needs to find it, which is ironic because
broken and dejected for 10 years.
That's what they did to Luke. But not nobody, but a lot of people didn't like that. But I think everybody wants to see. It's so funny that they did that story with Luke when they just needed to do it with Kenobi. And I think that's what people, again, wanted to see.
Well, because it makes sense with Kenobi. It didn't make as much sense with Luke. Luke is coming off of a victory with no reason visible as to why he's so sad.
Yes.
Except for, one terrible incident, which, I don't know, whatever. But Kenobi, we all know how he ended. I mean,
yes. He lost his brother.
He lost his brother. He lost his order. Everyone he knows is pretty much gone.
The entire Jedi Order, 10,000 Jedi, all but gone. He has to go into exile. He failed his brother. The Empire he has every reason in the world to be pretty upset right now.
He trained the Chosen One, who ultimately chose the wrong side.
Yeah, who joined the Sith, instead of, destroying them. So, yeah, obviously, this is the story that I think they wanted to do with The Last Jedi, and just split the fan base. You can, as I've said a million times before, I don't care if you like The Last Jedi. That's great. I'm glad you enjoy it, but to me, it just didn't make sense to do that to Luke of all characters. But it makes a heck of a lot of sense to do it to one Obi-Wan Kenobi.
All right, back to Kenobi.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't want to go into that, but I just wanted to point out
which sister do you think Reva is?
I don't know. I don't like the name Reva. It's too much like Revan. Unless she's supposed to be an homage or
who knows?
An homage, but like she knows about the story.
I don't know why
Revan.
They keep playing with that.
Just
like we talked about in a different video about how they had a battalion named after.
Yeah, it was a named legion, but whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, named after Revan. And now they have this character named Reva. I'm like, why do they keep getting so close to the name and then backing away?
Yeah, I think she looks great. I'm excited to see Inquisitors.
Armor looks cool.
Yeah. I mean, she looks like straight out of the game, out of Jedi Fallen Order or out of Rebels
yeah.
or the comic book. She, looks right in line with all that. So that's cool.
I'm really excited to see. This is our first live action Inquisitor.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. I'm excited and anxious is probably the right word because again we pretty much have it confirmed that Kenobi is going to be gallivanting across the galaxy. Presumably to lead the Inquisitor away.
Well, it's just so interesting because each Inquisitor seems to have a really distinctive style. I mean, Fifth Brother was all about brute strength. Seventh Sister was very cunning, deceptive, very agile style. I mean,
maybe this is the tracker, the smart one who can, maybe some kind of force power that leads her to other Jedi, or not other Jedi. She's not a Jedi, clearly, but maybe to other Force sensitive. Maybe that's kind of her ability, and that's why she has been sent for Kenobi.
But one thing is interesting is all Inquisitors have a pretty aggressive type of lightsaber fighting style because they're all out to prove themselves and grasp more power within.
I'm sure they all
their rankings.
Secretly want to be a Sith someday, even though they're.
So I'm really excited to see how she's portrayed.
Well, sure. I'm excited for a lot of things. Like I said, I'm not sure about where they're going to take this story. I mean, the whole... I could discuss the whole... I could debate it for hours, the whole Kenobi versus Vader. Is this a good idea for these two to meet again? I mean, is it just, as I say, is it spectacle that they're going to give us, or are they actually going to give us a story of substance about Kenobi, which is what people want. I really want to see this, again, I want to see Kenobi broken in the desert trying to pick up the pieces and remember what it's like to be a Jedi and to remember why he's there, not to, to have this crisis of faith here where am I still a Jedi? Do I even says in A New Hope, like, I know I used to be a Jedi, like your father. So what does he even think of himself at this point? What does he think of himself going forward?
Right. There's so many, is 6 episodes enough to explore both this I'm going to travel across the galaxy adventure and I am having my crisis of faith, or is his crisis of faith going to be, resolved by this journey, which I think a lot of it might be.
Yeah, I think the plan would be to have it resolved by the journey itself. But again, it's, do we need him off planet? Do we need him? I guess they're going to play it where, like I said, it seems like obviously the Inquisitor is here on Tatooine. We're not on Tatooine, but is going to be on Tatooine. And she's going to be close to Luke. And maybe that's what, I got to get away. But if she knew he was on Tatooine, then does that mean she was going to try to figure out why Tatooine of all places in the galaxy?
It could even be that she was drawn there not because of Kenobi, but because she felt Luke.
Well, that's what I'm guessing. Maybe she thinks she feels Kenobi, and he's going to try to make it feel like it was actually him and not Luke.
Right, so she's going to try and lure, he's obviously going to try and lure her away. Though I wouldn't be surprised to see, obviously, these two are going to duel and fight at some point, which will probably result in her death, unless there's a Kenobi season 2.
Yeah, what I'm almost hoping is like she shows up and reports back that she senses a strong presence in the Force. It gets back to Vader, and Vader's like, well, why is there a strong presence on Tatooine of all places in the galaxy? Maybe she gets killed by Kenobi, and then Kenobi takes off, and Vader, somehow senses Kenobi and goes on his trail and figures that must be what this Inquisitor felt.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if she is sensing Luke, why is Obi-Wan just leaving going to automatically make her say, oh, that presence is gone?
Well, and it could be that we're thinking of things in the opposite order.
Well,
it could be that he's having his crisis of faith, and maybe he leaves the planet, does his space adventure, and she finds him on the other planet and follows him back to Tatooine.
Maybe. I really hope
to result in her death at the end, so that Vader never has any clues as to which planet he's on.
I'm sure they're going to... Obviously, they're going to leave it so that Vader doesn't think he's on Tatooine, clearly. Otherwise, why would another 10 years go by with Kenobi quietly on Tatooine? But I don't want Kenobi to leave just because... I don't want him to leave because of the crisis of faith. I want him to leave because something now threatens Luke, and he has to kind of... he has to pull himself back up and remember why I'm here and what I have to do. Not the kind of the other way around, where it's like, I'm going to leave, I give up, and then all of a sudden now there's a threat. That's not the way... You can disagree, but that's not the way I would want to see it.
Well, it won't matter in the end the way we want to see it. We'll just have to wait and see it, right?
No, I just hope it's good. Like, I don't... it doesn't have to go a certain way. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say, if it's not this and this, if they don't meet for the same right reasons, if Kenobi does... That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to care about the story. I don't... if you can pull off Vader versus Kenobi and it makes sense, okay. But you have to... It can't just be like, well, we kind of just... Everything led to that because that's what we wanted them to do. No. If it becomes a natural part of the story, if it works and you can blend it in a way that it doesn't diminish from A New Hope or doesn't diminish from Revenge of the Sith, fine. I'm never saying you have to do it a certain way. I'm saying you have to care about the story. And if you care about the story and you tell a great story with these characters, even if it's not what I wanted to see necessarily going in or what I expected, that's fine. Just care about the story. Care about that over the spectacle, and we'll be fine.
Okay, and with that, I think we're ready to move on to the second news story of the day. Star Wars Celebration tickets are going back on sale on March 15th. Few days. So the tickets are going to be on sale at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and there's going to be a limited number of them. Celebration is going to be on May 26th through the 29th in Anaheim, California. Of course, it's going to be full of announcements, exhibits, all that good stuff. This was originally the celebration that was going to be in August 2020, but of course COVID pushed it back to August of this year when they decided to move it forward. So I'm curious how many celebrities are actually going to show up and if they're going to do signings in this current climate. So the ticket holders from 2020 actually had the opportunity to keep their tickets or to return them for a refund. I kind of suspect that the tickets going on sale in the limited quantities are from people who returned on those tickets. I'm glad the event is happening. It's been 2 years,
Yeah, we were
more.
at the last one in Chicago, which is a lot closer to us than Anaheim is. So we will not
Definitely.
be at Anaheim, unfortunately, or in Anaheim for it, unfortunately. I mean, I had fun the last one. It's, you meet a lot of cool fans. You stand in line for a lot of long periods of time, so
You stand in
you get to talk
line,
to
you
people.
stand here, you stand there.
And that's what I love. I love talking to the fellow fans, especially people who have, not that I'm anybody to know, but nobody had any clue that I'm Thor Skywalker. I just talk to them like
It's okay, they wouldn't know you anyway.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's cool that I can just that I'm not really that well known, and that even people who do know who I am probably wouldn't recognize me or my voice. So it was cool. It was great to just mingle with the fellow fans, and that's what I love.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the joy of going to something like this, is getting those first looks at brand new things and getting to talk to people.
Yeah, that's the beauty
People
of
who
it.
share an interest with
The
you.
passion.
Automatically, you know that if they're there, it's because they care
Yeah.
about Star Wars.
Oh yeah, almost certainly, yeah. I'm sure there are people there just to cover it or whatever, just to go. I'm sure there are some, but 99.9% are there because they love Star Wars. And it's interesting. We could speculate about what is even going to be unveiled here. Could we finally get news on the next movie? Be that Rogue Squadron, or something else? Or will we have more series announced? Will we have?
Maybe
probably
more first looks at series, maybe. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll have like an Andor, trailer, probably Bad Batch season 2 trailer, maybe even a little look at Ahsoka. But what's going to be the big news of the show? I would imagine
It's
talks
got to
in
be
the
a movie release, yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get something. Remember, Star Wars used to be all about the films, and now it's been almost 3 years since the last one. It will be this coming December anyway, but you have to give us something with a movie. That's what I'm kind of expecting. I would be surprised if we didn't get that. But again, I think you're right. I think the limited tickets are people who will not be re-upping to go this year because of the cancellation.
Right, due to scheduling or who knows what.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you might have planned your whole vacation around it, and you still ended up going anyway, even with, who knows, there was still Disneyland out there and other things to do out in the Anaheim area, so it may have been what your focus was, but maybe you readjust. Who knows? Who knows what it is?
well, and it's hard to predict in 2 years from now, am I going to still be available or going to
Yeah, of course.
life events happen and all that stuff. So you have no idea. You're
Yeah,
like, well,
you-
2 years from now, am I going to be able to go to this?
Yeah.
Roughly. I mean, when they canceled it, they didn't exactly say, this will be the new date. I mean, because they did.
Well, when they canceled, clearly we're in the height of COVID, unfortunately.
Well,
so
and then it
you
was
never
going
know
to be
what's the
August,
future.
and then they moved it up to May, so.
Yeah, but no, I'm hoping for something to do with the movie. Let's get back to some Star Wars. I shouldn't say I love. There's been issues with some of the Disney Plus, sure, but I love the idea of having series and all that stuff. But Star Wars is a film, and I can't wait for the next Star Wars film. I'm not really sold on the whole Rogue Squadron idea. I think the movies should really be where the epic big stories are told. Now, Rogue One was not such an epic, grandiose tale, but it worked really well. But no, I think the movies, that should be where the main story keeps going, and start a new trilogy. Let's do that. Let's take a trilogy either way in the future or way in the past, and let's start something fresh and new with Star Wars. I think that's enough rambling for me for one video.
Is it ever enough rambling from you?
No, personally, no. I don't think we could ever get enough Thor. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think that's enough rambling. But so it's your turn to dig to the comments below. Tell us what you think about the Kenobi series and these pictures. I'm sure Sailor Naboo, who does the editing here, will put them all in there. Tell us what you think about Celebration. Are you going? What do you think is going to be revealed? Is it just going to be what we already know, or will it be a big announcement? Whatever the case may be, leave your comments below, and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.